Is Google Search dead? I don't think so. They just came out with a new host of tools and features for us to play with. And that is exactly what we're going to be breaking down in today's video. Not a lot is known about these tools. We, as an agency, have been playing with them for a couple of weeks now, and we've got some preliminary takes to share with you. So if you're trying to stay on the cutting edge of what is happening, you are in the right place. I am Matt, speaking to the marketing industry's top talent through the world-class growth agency Jump 450. My guest today is Google Ads expert and acquisition manager at Jump, Eric Herzog. Eric, let's jump right in. We've got some new tools, new features, and stuff that they've just come out with. We're actually not even so confident in how aware people are of these features and tools yet. So we've got some visibility on them. We're going to talk through kind of what they are and what they do.
Yeah, totally. And I'm excited to kind of dive into these because even internally, a lot of people aren't really aware that these features exist. So excited to give everybody just kind of like a sneak peek at what's out there. And we're literally just starting to test them now ourselves. So a lot to learn.
So break them down, Eric. What do we got?
Yeah, cool. So I think really just to like kind of give a little backstory, right? So Google Search is one of the more foundational ad types within Google. And Google's been doing a lot of work. We've talked about PMax, demand gen, YouTube, all these channels that are a lot more AI driven. It's a lot more reliant on like algorithmic learnings and just machine learning as a whole, where search isn't really as much. It's pretty straightforward, right? Somebody searches into Google and your ads pop up. They've done a lot in terms of like smart bidding, so like some of the new bid strategies, things like that. But like search as it's being isn't really that advanced. So Google is now they've released 3 new tools within search to try and bring search more into 2025, into the year, the age of AI. So the first one, and the way we'll look at it too is kind of like a hierarchy because I think they build on each other. Mm-hmm. So the first one, which isn't necessarily new, but broad match, right? We've talked about broad match.
Yeah.
Broad match is heavily debated. Does it perform better? You can build a case really either way. It depends what you're trying to get out of it, right? But broad match now is actually a little bit more focused on AI because it takes all these additional signals by opening up search keywords to broad match. It takes in user IP address, their previous search history, what they're actually looking for, and it really trains the algorithm that way. So, and the reason why I'm bringing up broad match first is because these new tools build on broad match. You need to be running broad match to be able to get access to these new tools. So I want to set the stage with broad match is kind of like step one. It's actually, we call it part 1 of step 1. Part 2 of step 1 is going to be using value-based bidding. So again, that's something else we've talked through. That's training the algorithm to pursue value versus just a static conversion event. So that works really well for e-commerce when you have products that are different price points for travel, for cruises, where, not every purchase is valued equally.
Right.
Value bidding helps you unlock higher AOV, essentially. So these are the 2 foundational pieces that you need in place before you can actually even get access to these new tools.
I see.
The first one is called bidding exploration. So this is one that we're currently testing. It's a beta. You need to work with your Google reps to actually get access to test these. But essentially what it is it's the first step past broad match keywords. So what it does, Google will look at all the keywords that you're bidding on in a campaign, and it will look for those that don't really get a lot of traffic and aren't really doing much. They're kind of just idle. They're in the account. Maybe they're triggering a few search terms here and there, but they're not really doing to help grow your business. Then what Google will do is it will expand the reach of these broad match keywords to appear in more auctions. It's still going to be relevant in a sense that it's not going to necessarily contain that same keyword, but it's going to contain the same emotion or intent. So I guess an example of that would be like, let's say the keyword that we have, the broad match keyword we have in our campaign is flower delivery. It's not getting a lot of traffic. People aren't really searching it, whatever. We turned on this bidding exploration. Now that flower delivery keyword will start serving for things like Valentine's Day presents or get well soon gifts, things like that are still, it's still similar, right? Like get well soon gift, somebody could be looking for flowers, they could be looking for chocolates, cards, whatever,
Sure.
but it's still in that same vein of what they're looking for. And really what Google is trying to do here is revitalize those broad match keywords that aren't really doing much for you. So that's bidding exploration. That's kind of like step one. And this is the one that we're actually just testing now. And we're seeing really promising results from it.
I was just curious, for people who are maybe like more beginners and aren't as confident in some of the keywords that they're going after, does this feel like a little bit of a safety net for those people? Because maybe it's like, well, if human error made me choose the wrong keyword, then maybe Google exploration is going to help me out and push it out to more auctions anyway.
I think it's the opposite of that. So I think you should only be doing this if you're 100% confident in your keywords that you're targeting. Okay. Because if you're not confident in what you have set up in platform, I mean, you shouldn't be running broad match then, because you could be matching to anything really. So I think really coming down to it is like, know the keywords that you're targeting on, know that they do work for you. And maybe this shift has been a way to just try like testing into expanding your search through new keywords. Some of them, maybe they're not relevant anymore, whatever it may be. Bidding exploration will just get them into more auctions for you. And really I guess one of the big selling points too is Google calls it unique impressions, unique clicks, unique conversions. So this is search categories that are brand new to your account that you're now entering the auction for that. So I think, if you're new to search, don't go with bidding exploration yet. Get a good foundation of, what keywords actually work for you and drive performance. And then, this is kind of like, now that you've passed your foundational search, expertise, whatever it may be, now you've graduated to being able to test some of these cool new features. Within bidding exploration, there's a couple of requirements that you need to have in place. So we talked through them, right? It's broad match, it's value-based bidding. You also need to be okay with maybe sacrificing efficiency for a little bit. Google says Google will just automatically drop your ROAS target by 10% in platform, just to give it a little bit more flexibility in terms of, which auctions you're entering. The other thing too that we're just learned is the campaigns can't be limited by budget, because what will happen then, that budget limitation kind of stalls out the algorithm and it doesn't allow it to enter into these new auctions. So, that's another point too. Like, are you okay with potentially sacrificing the efficiency of your search campaigns in the pursuit of growth? Right. I think that's always the balance that we have to go after. But right now, I mean, again, I've only been testing it for a couple of weeks and it's looking really strong. So I'm excited with the results there. So that's like fun new tool number one with search campaigns. The second one is just like an extension of that. So it's called Search Max. Google loves their PMax, Search Max, great names.
Well, none of them mean anything, but they all Max feel so full and powerful.
Exactly. And it's funny talking to Google reps about it. They're the ones that I've talked to aren't thrilled on the Search Max name, but so Search Max is now just further expanding your search campaigns. So it's another setting that you have to get allow listed for through working with your Google Maps at Google reps. It's a beta, but essentially what it does is takes it even one step further. So within Search Max, you have a couple features. So you can do search term matching. So now it's just essentially like it's just another step towards like opening up your keywords to appear in more auctions and appear for more searches. So that's like step one. Step two is then going to be what we've talked about in PMax, that has in PMax in the past, is URL expansion. Right. And automatically created assets. So what does that mean? So it really kind of like treats it as a dynamic search ad component. where through the URL expansion, you're giving Google to freedom and flexibility to crawl your website, look at different web pages, and match your ads to user search queries that are relevant to the content you have on your landing pages. And by doing so, it also has to give you have to be okay with allowing Google to create custom headlines for your ads based on the content of your landing pages, because it really has to have that like one-to-one relationship between what somebody's looking for, the headline that they're served, and then the landing page that they're taken to.
So you're forfeiting some creative control there, which we've seen in PMAX before can be a little problematic. Headlines actually seems like it's taking us further into the weeds, right? I know that we've talked about how PMAX will make a video for you if you have not put one into the campaign yourself. But yeah, headlines feels like even more granular or something. Have you sort of have you tested this enough to sort of get a sense of the headlines? Have we seen anything really off go out, or is this something that you're sort of trusting at the moment?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So how it actually works, it's very similar to, like I said, just like DSAs, like dynamic search ads. That's a pretty old feature, I think, and that actually pulls headlines from your landing pages. So Google's already been doing this. We see DSAs work really well, actually. For one of my big clients who has like 19,000 SKUs within their product catalog, we run DSAs a lot. That's like a pillar of our non-brand search foundation. The reason being because if somebody's searching for a very specific product, we even get searches, people looking for the SKU number. What will happen? Somebody searches a SKU number. Google will serve them a headline that has that SKU number in it, which is, I mean, that's about as perfect of a match as you can get, right? So if you're looking for a product so specific that you're looking for it by the SKU, search that, the SKU number shows up, you're going to click on that ad, right? So we actually see DSAs perform really well. And I think it's a good strategy for e-commerce, as long as you have a good structure in place, because rather than having the actual keywords that are relevant to every single one of your products, you can set up a DSA and let Google actually trigger your ads for searches that are relevant. So I actually really like DSAs. I think, they need the right structure, like I said, and need some guardrails and control, but I think they can work really well. So anyways, the reason I'm bringing that up is because Search Max kind of incorporates this feature into your campaigns as just a way to help provide the best user experience, because within Google, like kind of one of their pillars of Google Ads is making sure that the end user has a good experience. That's why we do things like you have to have relevant ads to the keywords and landing pages, and you get quality scores, how
You're
good
treating the customer.
Yeah, exactly. So these features like DSAs, the final URL expansion, it's really all just way to make it a more pleasant search experience for Google. So there's my tangent on Google Ads, but that's the latest tool is Search Max. Again, haven't tested it yet because the way I'm looking at it is we tested broad match, value bidding. We saw really strong performance. How do we expand on that? We're testing this bidding exploration. It's only been a couple of weeks, like I said, but we're seeing really strong performance from it. And there's some cool reporting features in platform that can actually show you like unique impressions, unique clicks. You can actually get down as low as or as granular as unique conversions from these new search categories. Anyways, so we're testing that now. Want to see how that does. And then we'll go into testing Search Max, and we'll probably do it in those different phases. So we'll do Search Max with just the search term matching feature on, see how that does for us, see if we can identify some new converting search terms. Then it'll be, okay, let's test the URL expansion and automatically create assets. That one's always a little tricky with clients, especially if they have very specific brand messaging guidelines, right? So
you're talking about URL expansion?
Yeah, because with the URL expansion, you have to also enable the automatically created text assets. They just want to make sure, you chat with the client, make sure that they're open to testing it, that they are aware that there could potentially be some new copy that Google is serving. But again, it's all really just in the spirit of how do we really push the limits in Google to just grow our client's business. And it's really just testing all of these new settings, chatting with the client, making sure that they're aware of, what's going on, but especially with a feature that's going to have Google curated creative going out there for all to see. Just want to make sure that the client is aware and they're open to it. In theory, it should be fine because Google is just pulling messaging from copy that's already on your website.
This is something that, all brands are different. Some people are really open to testing. Some people are really conservative about that kind of thing. And I feel like the takeaway that you're sort of leaving us with is like, look, you're seeing good results in just testing this for a couple of weeks, right? If you take the risk, maybe you'll get some reward. If you don't take the risk, then, you keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly. That's also part of performance marketing, right? Is we're going for performance. Like, obviously we're not trying to sacrifice the brand image or anything like that. But if there are tools available that allow us to expand with a little bit more flexibility on the creative front, I think it's totally valid. But that's just the difference between performance marketing versus creating ads for like a magazine.
Sure. Eric, what are the takeaways here then? So we've talked through these tools, these features. They're brand new, guys. Some of them are even still beta. But what is maybe I got really turned on by this talk. Maybe consider myself to be on the cutting edge of Google performance, and I've got to get my hands on these things. What are my next steps here?
Yeah. So next steps. First, if you're not doing it, test broad match. That's kind of the foundation for all of these. Test broad match, test value-based bidding. If you're already doing that and seeing strong performance and you don't have these tools available in your ad account yet, reach out to your Google reps, ask to just get allow listed. You might have to get on the wait list for the betas, but just get the process started. Let your clients know that there are these cool new features within the search world to test. Search is not dead. There's a lot that Google's putting into it to test.
Big thanks to Eric. This has been Google Ads expert and acquisition manager at Jump, Eric Herzog. And if you are listening and you are interested in exploding your own digital growth, you can get in touch with Jump 450 in the link below in the description. That is www.jump450.com. And do not forget to subscribe for more weekly episodes. We'll see you next time.